Okay. The on-stream chat right now is not working because RTBA says he doesn't want it to be up anymore. He says that no more on-stream chat until I get Diamond in League of Legends. Holy shit. Now that Melina's green card, she needs to learn her drive. Yeah. Oh, I need her to get a US bank account, dude, to get her money out of Sweden, because that place is actually fucking not tier when it comes to taxes. But some people were saying that there's like a 6-month backup for DMV appointments in Miami. Do we just run out of workers in the United States? It honestly feels that way. It feels like we just ran out of people to work jobs in the United States. Like we don't have any more.
Put YouTube chat on screen instead. Face red, droopy eyes.
True. Shouldn't you be able to open a bank account with their passport and green card? Wells Fargo wants you to have a local ID. So the green card is not enough. It's so fucking annoying. So I need to get her some sort of state-issued ID. So I probably need it's got to be a Florida either driver's license, which are more recently a Florida who the fuck uses Wells Fargo? I've been using it for like 20 years. Go to a credit union? Why the fuck would I waste my time at some dog shit fucking credit union? I just want a big bank that does business with everybody. It still blows my mind that a bank account is enough to create residence in Sweden. You would think by now all of our major ties to Sweden would be severed. It's not. There's just some weird cringe shit that there's just some weird cringe shit for how Sweden does taxes. Like anything that touches a Swedish bank account, they want to tax, and it's like their tax rates are actually fucking absurd. From Lena, I think it's getting up to like 60%, and it's just insane. Okay, hold on. You're getting a 1-month ban because you consistently say retarded shit in my chat. Destiny, I love Sweden because the government does everything right. Destiny, I hate Sweden because they tax so much. Do you understand the difference between saying that versus paying taxes to a country you don't live in? April, May. Fucking retard. Actually, off yourself. For an atheist, you sure do say Jesus a lot. Good one, Rumble chat.
Political streamer, center-left political streamer Destiny went on Tim Pool's show. Tim Pool, you know, I would describe as right-wing. And they got into a little back and forth here, a debate on the Trump indictment. And I thought this was interesting. Let's take a look and we'll break it down.
Again, fair point. We'll see what happens. My issue with it for the most part is, really? Falsified record misdemeanor charge? You want to get into the debate about Barack Obama blowing up a kid? Because I would absolutely love to talk about that. Look, if they want to give Trump a misdemeanor charge and lock him up for however many months a misdemeanor gets him, I would absolutely be willing to make that to agree. You're right. He's got to be charged. Next up, Obama. He blew up a kid. He blew up a bunch of kids.
I don't know if Obama broke a law.
I don't think Americans of any capacity are allowed to kill other Americans.
Of any capacity? Don't cops do it all the time?
Not like.
True. It seems like in the service of doing.
A little bit of a semantic trick you played there, right?
Okay.
That wasn't a
Obviously,
semantic
you can kill
trick.
people in self-defense, but Obama bombed a civilian restaurant in Yemen, a country we're not at war with, killing civilians, including a 16-year-old American citizen. Like, you can't, if you're in the military, you can't just, or a cop, you can't just go and kill somebody.
Murder. You can't murder.
Yeah, but I imagine the justification Obama would use was that this was in defense of U.S. interests or defense of the United States. And in his role as Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States has offered wide deference from the Supreme Court for taking actions in the Commission of Protecting the United States, even if we disagree with them.
Yeah, I think that's criminal. I mean,
Well, that's fine, but there's a different question of like, is it illegal versus do you think it's criminal, like bad, right? It's probably bad, I guess, but like.
So the Obama administration's argument was that they were trying to target a terrorist leader. But I'm not. I mean, you make a fair point, but I'd be willing to argue that the president does not have the authority to bomb countries we are not at war with.
Well, what about when Trump assassinated Soleimani? That was an assassination.
Where was that taking place in?
In Iraq.
In Iraq,
Yeah.
a country we have an AUMF over, an authorization for use of military force.
I don't think the authorization for use of military force. I'm pretty sure we were on good terms with Iraq at that point. I don't know if we had the ability to do whatever we wanted in that country. That was a political assassination, though.
But
there are executive orders that are against the United States.
I don't disagree.
Sure, but
Like,
I'm just saying that in general.
Apparently, in the U.S. it's illegal to assassinate people. I did research. I stumbled into this. I don't know how. I don't know if I. Oh no, maybe I read it before. I don't remember when I read this. It was somewhere recently, but I don't think in the United States we're not allowed to do assassinations. I don't know why, but we're not. I think it's like illegal. It might be an international thing. You're not allowed to assassinate people.
In general, there's multiple questions going on here. We can say, do we think it's wrong or bad? Probably. I think generally the United States president killing American citizens is generally a bad thing, unless there's really good justification for it. There's a difference between that versus is it illegal? And I think that the law tends to, we argued about this a little bit before the show, when Trump was doing things at the border that we thought, when I say we progressives and the left got really mad at, the Supreme Court tended to side with him because the president has given wide deference over matters of
what was he doing on the
security.
border?
I think it was when he was using, he couldn't get the funding for the border wall. No. It was over banning certain people coming into the country. When he
the Muslim majority bans.
There were 7 Muslim majority countries, and when he was running for president, even Giuliani said he's trying to find ways to do a Muslim majority ban. again, technically he's not allowed to do that.
Venezuela and North Korea were on that list, though.
Yeah, well, he changed it up, I think, after the first one didn't go through for whatever reason. But once he did that ban, when people tried to challenge it, the Supreme Court basically said, president, border, he can do almost anything he wants because it's the president of the
Yeah,
border.
but that's not blowing up a kid.
I didn't say it was blowing up a kid, but
No,
I'm just saying that in
so
general, you would think that like, when we're talking like border, if we're talking about like passing policy at the border, that seems like a congressional thing. Like we should be passing laws about immigration policy, but the president can do that basically all on his own because the Supreme Court's like, hey, he's a president, national security, he can do almost whatever he wants.
I think I see the disconnect. I'm less concerned with legality.
Okay, I'm only talking legalities.
Right. So I think that a president who bombs a country we're not at war with should be stripped of his power and criminally charged for killing an American citizen. And it should be literally under the U.S. murder statutes.
Seems to have
that are
very
covered
selective
by
memory.
multiple state and federal laws. I don't look at it like, well, you know.
Is a murder statute, could I, in Tennessee, get arrested if I bomb somebody in Yemen? Is that a, I don't know what the...
I mean, that's a good point. You might, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, that might be like way worse than murder. It might be terroristic, international. There might, like, I'm pretty sure if you, as an American citizen, set up a bomb in a foreign country, you'd be criminally charged in the U.S.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'd be under state statutes.
Would you?
Right? That sounds like some
Federal.
International, federal, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Julian Assange is being criminally charged.
Okay.
Before Kulinski gives his breakdown of this, I actually had there was a lawyer that actually emailed me an interesting thing on this, which I'll read, I guess. Okay. Hello, my name is blah blah blah, and I make blah blah blah.
Where's Crash
blah
Bar?
blah
Tell
blah
that
blah.
new the fuck, but he owes me hundo. I'm back to collect homie shalomi. You better get those Jacksons lined up. I want to count them.
I recently watched an interview with Tim Pool where you discussed the indictment of Trump. During the conversation, he pivoted to discuss Obama's alleged bombing of a teen in Yemen, and I noticed some inaccuracies in the discussion regarding international law. Firstly, regardless of citizenship, individuals are not guaranteed the same rights when not on American soil. Crimes committed against Americans in foreign countries are not usually subject to American jurisdiction and would violate foreign nations' sovereignty if pursued. Secondly, while the bombings in Yemen may be are morally reprehensible, it is not legally sound to suggest arresting Obama for these actions. If there was any apparatus available to hold world leaders accountable for the atrocities they commit, it would be within the ICJ or the ICC. That is irrelevant, however, since we are not signatories to any of the UN resolutions establishing the legitimacy of the court. Here's an example. The UN Declaration of Human Rights, penned by Eleanor Roosevelt, was never ratified by Congress. So despite the classification of tear gas as a war crime within the Geneva Convention, the failure of Congress to ratify the declaration means that there is nobody to enforce any justice for the abuse of human rights that is spraying one's citizens with chemical warfare, tear gas. The establishment of American foreign policy over the last 200-odd years basically is boiled down to the American Constitution left it up to the president when it was drafted, and over the course of the 20th century, the presidents holding office stretched that power further and further, and now they can do and get away with murder. Unfortunately, there are no legal means possible to find justice for those unjustly killed in foreign countries. Another example, Nixon and Kissinger bombed Cambodia so intensely without approval from Congress or the knowledge of the American public that the amount of C4 dropped in the country were equivalent to that of an atomic bomb. These actions are morally wrong, but there is no bigger bully in the playground to stop the president, and there is no law limiting his powers internationally. The suggestion that you can draw an equivalency between these kinds of nuanced and complex international legal issues and the very established law that Trump violated when he paid off Stormy Daniels is pathetic. It is truly baffling to me that someone such as Tim Pool, who has a large platform with so many people listening to him while discussing American politics, has such a myopic and uninformed understanding of anything international that he thinks that someone can be charged in the United States for a crime they committed abroad. It is hardly even possible to try someone for a crime they committed in a different state without significant legal processes, fees, and approvals. Foreign countries do not freely abandon their power over the body of the people.
Keep in mind destiny that Trump
and
will
no
go on to kill the
nation.
boy's younger sister. Now we're out.
Foreign countries do not freely abandon their power over the body of the people, and no nation that I can imagine would ever relinquish their sovereign rights to the United States without significant force, financial, militaristic, or otherwise. If you're interested in talking more, blah, 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 blah. That was a write-up on that. Came out to say that Trump would go in and go on to kill the boy's younger sister. No, okay, I don't know what that means. Okay. Sorry. I can take over projects and work on things, but I can't do it in foreign languages. Anytime I look at Mel's text, it just triggers the fuck out of me because I'm having to use Google Translate. I don't care. Okay, I'm back on this. I'm sorry. Fuck. She said that message to a tax guy and he sent something back and I Google translated and it doesn't make sense and I don't care.
So,
Okay.
the point from Tim Pool appears to be like, okay, maybe I grant you Trump committed a crime. Maybe I grant you. Well, he says it's a misdemeanor. It's actually not. It's 34 felonies, and yes, it's a novel application of the law because it's like committing certain crimes in service of other crimes. So there's never been a case tried exactly like this before, but it's definitely felonies. It's not misdemeanors. But his point seems to be like, really, this is nothing compared to the crimes of other presidents. And he references Barack Obama killing Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki, 16-year-old American, and basically getting away with it. And his point is like, yeah, I could sign up for Trump being arrested, but, arrest the other guys too. And look, here's the reality, though. This is an article from very early into the Trump administration. 8-year-old American girl killed in Yemen raid approved by Trump. Anwar al-Awlaki's daughter, Nawar, may have been fatally shot in intelligence operation on Al-Qaeda.
Okay, also, to be clear, now, I don't like Trump as much as the next guy, but I doubt that Trump ordered the military to go kill this little girl, right? Or is that their argument?
Left at least 14 people, including a U.S. commando, dead. This is a raid that was viewed as so extreme that even when it came to Obama's desk, he was like, that's too risky. That's too high stakes. I can't approve it. This isn't going to go well. It got to Trump's desk and Trump approved it. Now, also, Trump increased the drone war by over 400%. They tried to do a coup in Venezuela and were open about that fact. Trump admitted, I'm occupying a third of Syria to steal their oil, which of course is illegal under international law. He kept us in Afghanistan. He kept us in Iraq. As Destiny correctly pointed out, he killed General Soleimani, which was illegal. Now, look, the argument I would make is they're having two separate conversations. They're having a conversation about, like, is it legal or is it illegal or is it just bad, right? And they're trying to separate out those two conversations and say something could be bad but technically illegal.
I think I explained literally this concept a little bit later.
No, I think that all these things that we're talking about now are not only just bad, they're also illegal. It's true that the way the law is interpreted by the executive branch and even some very right-wing courts, they might grant massive leeway on certain issues, right? Like assassinations or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, even if I grant that, okay, then this thing is technically legal, it's still illegal under international law. You can't wage...
Okay, here's a new thing, and I hate to do this because I suck at names sometimes, but here's my new thing when I say this. And I did this with that one lawyer guy too. If you're going to say it's illegal under international law, point out the international law and make sure that we're signatories to it. That's what I want to see. What international law is this illegal under? Show me.
An offensive attack against a country that didn't attack you. You can't do it. It's not allowed. If any other country does that, it's, we'll see you in the International Criminal Court. That's unacceptable. And you could probably point to multiple laws that this violates. In the case of the U.S.
Point to one, then.
You talk about Congress has to declare war. And we have the War Powers Act, which gives some leeway on that front, but it's only for a limited amount of time. But what they've done is they've taken the authorization for use of military force in the war on terror, and they've interpreted it in an insane way, where they say, this does allow us to attack anybody, anywhere, anytime. And oh yeah, by the way, it doesn't even have to be any of the people who are part of the original group.
Okay, this is really weird. Where's Pisco? I've never understood this. I think that what he's describing here is accurate for the authorization of use of military force. I wonder if Pisco has something to say about this. Let's see if he wants to hop in. Or if there's any other lawyers that know shit about, like, war shit. I'm curious.
Al-Qaeda, which attacked us on 9/11. So, look, if you get a good lawyer and you challenge it in court and you have standing...
What's up?
Do you have strong feelings about, like, how we use the AUMF or whatever the fuck, or AUMF?
Did you read my notes on the Al-Awlaki case that I sent you?
Not yet. I haven't got to anything yet.
Okay, yeah, I sent you notes on that case. It's a really interesting case because it's one of the few cases where there was a sort of judicial administration or judicial review of drone strikes and what have you. And I believe his father got involved.
Can you turn your mic down like 50%?
How's this?
You didn't change it at all. I don't know. Did you just pretend to?
Okay, how's this?
Turn it down like 90%.
All right, give me a second. Hold on.
All right, okay, wait. I think you just talk quieter.
How's this?
Okay, wait. Turn it up like 40%.
Okay.
Are
you good?
Yeah,
Hello?
I think this is probably okay. Sure.
Okay. So the Alaki case was super interesting because his father basically tried to intervene on his behalf before his death, and they went through an entire like judicial review of the whole thing. The authorization for use of military force, it gives the right for the president to fight Al-Qaeda anywhere within the world.
Interesting.
Oh. And
so
with regards,
if we say that we've seen Al-Qaeda somewhere, we essentially have the right to go conduct military operations there?
Well, that's the basis for the authorization of use for military force, because it wasn't specific to a traditional war, right? Like, we weren't going to have a specified area of war that we could, point on a map to and be like, we're going to fight here. Mm-hmm. So it was more broadly construed. And then when you also look at the judicial review, what the court ultimately comes down to, and this is what you've said before about quarterbacking the president on national security questions, it's called the political questions doctrine. What it is a doctrine of law where the court identifies something as being political in nature that is beyond the basis for the courts to decide upon. Mm-hmm. And this is where it comes to, quarterbacking the president, where it's like, okay, we can't substitute our judgment for the responsibilities and obligations of
the president to keep
the president
and the U.S.
because then we're literally taking the president's job away from them.
Yo,
and that's not
Batman. I have a question, bro.
Sure, what's going on?
What do you think about what Candace just said in the other briefing?
In what other briefing?
Like the statement that Candace had made.
What statement did she make? I literally just joined.
He tried to get you, dude.
Ow. Candy's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay.
He failed.
Yeah, well.
I thought he was talking about like
Candace Owens, yeah.
Not Candace Owens. The Condoleezza Rice was the one that came to mind. But Candace Owens, yeah, that also. But yeah, so that's the basis for war fighting. It's a political question, and it's ultimately the obligation of the president. I also linked you to, or pointed you in the direction of the Intercept article, which goes over the details of how the decision is made with regards to when and how to make a drone strike, right? When somebody's on the presidential kill list, quote unquote, the decisions on whether or not an individual is qualified to make that list, that Intercept article kind of goes through the process. But generally speaking, it requires actionable intel, and it requires what was it in my notes? Hold on, let me go back real quick. To get on the list requires 2 verifiable human sources and substantial evidence. It's not like, hey, we just want to kill this person. Like, there's an administrative process within the White House that it goes through and has to be cleared up the chain for.
What is the chain of command for that? Who ultimately clears that?
The president is ultimately the person that would.
Oh wait, isn't that a little bit?
Hold on.
The president clears his own authorizations. That can't be it, right?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, like, the president gives the final okay, but there's like a whole process to bring a person up for consideration. It's kind of like pardons.
I'm asking,
right?
Who verifies that process? Like a FISA court might verify like FISA warrants or something like
that. No. There is no there. That's part of the authorization, right?
No, I'm asking who verifies that these conditions have been met to authorize a strike. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, it's with various levels within the White House. There is no like external verification. This is just something they do.
Interesting. Okay.
Hold on. Here's the Intercept article. I'm posting it in chat. That's to my knowledge. Now, like, I am not the expert on the presidential kill list because obviously I don't have a top secret clearance, but the idea is that there is, if POTUS approves, can enter a targeting role, actionable intelligence provides targeting windows, and then they discuss the matter. But the idea is that there's a whole bureaucratic system that has to go in to play. So, and it lays it out for you if you want to read it. So there you go.
Okay.
All right. Hope that helps.
Yeah, be careful, bud.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Well, certainly you can get the proper interpretation into law. Because they've used, the authorization for use of military force for the war on terror, which is supposed to be to go after Al-Qaeda. They've used that to go after, for example, Shia Houthis in Yemen, who had nothing to do with terrorism against the United States of America, right? If anything, we are backing the people who are more linked to Al-Qaeda because it's Saudi Arabia and the Wahhabis and the Salafists who are fighting the Houthis on the ground in Yemen. So, yes, not only are all these things bad, I would argue they're also illegal.
I'm a law student. I'm always amazed how easily impressed by random lawyers. Put the dragon in focus. Does it sound like he knew what he was talking about? I don't know, Shenko. Do you want to come in and say something different? Have him. Oh, you're not even a fucking lawyer. You're a fucking law student. I don't give a fuck. If you have something you want to say, then say it. Jesus.
And I will grant the point that there are some, right-wing courts that would maybe disagree with me. I certainly grant you that the executive branch disagrees with me. But I think any reasonable interpretation of the plain-face reading of both U.S. law and international law would find that the drone war is illegal, the political assassinations are illegal. And to address Tim Pool's point more directly here, he's playing the game of really with Trump. But guys, if you can get him on anything, you should. And I feel the same way if they were going after George W. Bush and Dick Cheney or Barack Obama. I don't like this thing where it's well, this particular charge isn't exactly the one, and it's not as extreme as the other ones where they're bigger issues, so therefore it's almost like excusing on those grounds. Whereas I look at it the exact opposite way, which is at least you're trying to get one of these guys on something that they did wrong, right? So, and by the way, I think there's more coming on the Trump front. I do. I think that you're probably going to see indictments when it comes to the Georgia case, the find me 11,000 votes, the fake elector scheme. You might even see charges when it comes to obstruction of justice for the classified documents. Remember, whereas Joe Biden and Mike Pence both cooperated with the authorities fully, whereas now apparently there's video evidence that Donald Trump did not cooperate and he obstructed justice. So I think you're going to see some charges there potentially. There might be other business-related ones, So I'm just happy they're going after at least one of these guys for at least one of the things they did wrong. But, the fact of the matter is, yes, it would be better if you go after these people for various war crimes. But, unfortunately, we haven't had the proper challenges in court, and we're dealing with a rogue executive branch that has extreme interpretations that gives themselves wide authority, and a court system where at least some of the judges are super right-wing.
Okay, I don't care anymore.